Hello, this is going to be a different kind of gaming video because I'm not doing gaming on my PC in this video, but I'm going to talk about my old-fashioned gaming on my Game Boy and the games I have for that. I'm hoping that the Game Boy and the games still work so I can show you a bit of gameplay from my old Game Boy games. I have this as well. I have used this a lot when I was younger. It isn't as advanced as the Game Boy and it only has some Tetris games on it, but I've used it a lot. My Game Boy is something that I have talked about in the video Introduction to Me and my channel. And in that video I talked about how I bought the Game Boy on Blå Mandag, which is the Monday after the confirmation. I felt like doing something different. In part because I'm done with the playthrough of The Evil Within, and partly because I want to have a kind of palate cleanser before I start doing a new playthrough of another game. Or it won't be a new playthrough because I'm planning on replaying Horizon Zero Dawn that I have played 3 times before, so that won't be a first playthrough, but overall, I intend for my channel to mainly be a place where I do first playthroughs of various games, and as you will see in a few moments when I show you my games for my Game Boy, I play a lot of different genres. I did back then and I do different genres today as well. Another reason why I want to do a new kind of gaming video is because it's something fun and because I have been very sad recently. I wanted to take my mind off of things and just talk about stuff that interests me. So I got this Game Boy. I bought it for my own money that I got on my confirmation day. I guess that is what you say in English as well, but I'm not overly religious, but it was just something that people did regardless of whether they actually believe in a higher power or not. Nevertheless, I had a party at my confirmation and I got some money, and some of that money I spent on a Game Boy, this Game Boy, and a few games. I don't remember which games I bought. I bought 1 or 2 games along with my Game Boy so that I had something to play, and because I was a paper girl, I made a bit of money myself, and so I spent some of my hard-earned money on games. I've spent quite a bit of money on batteries as well for my Game Boy, and also actually for my Ghetto Blaster, because I like to bring it with me on camping trips and other places so I could listen to my CDs even though there wasn't any power outlet. So actually I remember one time when I was a teen, I think I was a teen, and there was a power outage where I lived. I lived with my parents back then, and there was a power outage and we didn't have a clue what was going on. So we wanted to know what was going on. And we couldn't really do that because there was no power. So we couldn't listen to my parents' radio because it is plugged in. So we needed something that could work offline or off the power grid, and so I brought my Ghetto Blaster into the living room and I had fresh batteries in it, and so we could listen to the radio on my Ghetto Blaster. And then we found out it wasn't a nationwide blackout at all, but it was in that neighborhood, so it wasn't just in my parents' house that we didn't have any power. But that was a side note. I have always kept these games in the small little boxes, if I remember how to open. Oh, there we go. So, Donkey Kong Land. I think this was my favorite game of the games I have for my Game Boy. I played that a lot, and I have also played this V-Rally. I have played this game a lot too. I wasn't particularly good at this racing game, but it was all about picking the right car in the game because it needed to be able to drive fast enough so I could actually beat the others. And the tire or the traction from the tire on the tarmac was important too, and the steering capabilities were important as well. But if the car wasn't that fast, then I wouldn't win no matter how good I was at driving in the game. So I think I remember that I had one particular car that I always chose, and that made it a bit easier for me to actually win in that game. And then I also have Mario Land. I don't really remember what this game is about. It's part of the Mario Brothers franchise, I guess. But I don't remember this that much. I have probably played it a lot, I just don't remember it. But it's fun to look at. I also have this Super Mario Land. I don't really remember this either. Or do I? I remember another Super Mario Brothers game that I played a lot when I was a child or teen. And I played that at my friend's house. She had a computer, and there was this game where Mario and Luigi, we could take turns playing. And there were these two characters that we could choose between, and then we could play. And then they had to go through all of these 2D platform levels, and they had to jump up and then hit boxes to get goodies or to smash blocks so they could go up and stuff like that. It was quite fun. Actually, we have found the game, my boyfriend and I have found that game for the Wii. We have a Wii controller, but it is unplugged and we haven't used that for 10 years or something, at least 8 years. So I don't really count that as anything that I have been playing on much. And then I have Godzilla. This is a game that I traded with or bought from my oldest younger brother's friend. He had a Game Boy like mine too, and then we switched games sometimes. And one of my favorite games, I think it was actually this yellow one, that was my favorite game. He wanted to borrow that, and then I borrowed some of his, but I wanted my game back, and I don't remember if he just gave me the game that I had borrowed from him or if I bought it. But I got this yellow one back, and then I got the game he had as well. I think that was Kirby's Dream Land. I have that here on the table as well. And Godzilla is one of the games that I traded with him. I don't remember if this game was something that I bought or that he just gave me, but I have played this quite a lot too. But it was more like a puzzle than an action game. And as far as I remember, I have never beaten this game. I never completed it because I had to go through labyrinths or something, and I had to uncover parts of a map or tiles on a play mat or something. I don't know what it's called, but I needed to find the right path through obstacles or through labyrinths or something like that. And there was a specific way you had to go in order to go through a level or something. And I made cheat sheets for this game, so I knew what to pick and when. But anyway, I didn't really finish this game after all. So this is not my favorite game. I like action games though. And then I have Kirby's Dream Land. It was kind of fun, and it was kind of different because Kirby is this kind of fluffy creature that can blow itself up, not explode, but it can get bigger and then smaller again. And then when it sucks in air, then it blows up like a blowfish, and then it drifts upward, and then it can go over obstacles. And then if you blow air out, then you can smash enemies, and then it lowers again, and then it sinks down. it always flies. It can fly somehow. It's an airy creature, but when it blows air out, then it gets heavier and then it drifts downward toward the ground again. I think I have beaten this game, but I'm not sure. And then finally, I have Donkey Kong. This is about having to rescue a princess or something. As far as I remember, I have made it to the last level and I have actually also beaten this game. I finally won, so that was a good thing. I have another story for you, and I don't remember which game I was playing. I just remember that it was important to me that I played on my Game Boy. So the story is that my family and I went to a visit at my grandparents' house, and then my mother's old bedroom in her childhood home was a place where we could go. Us kids could go into her old bedroom and then just hang out and talk and play games and stuff like that. But my second oldest sister thought that I was being a bit antisocial, so while I sat there on the couch in this bedroom and the others were hanging out in there with me, then my sister just went over and then she knew where to turn off the Game Boy, so she just switched it off while I was playing, and I got really mad at her and I was like, never do that, and I was really angry, and she was like, hey, spend some time with us. Maybe that says something about who I am as a person. Sometimes I just like being on my own and just chilling and just not having to handle other people. So I'm not antisocial in general. I just like to be on my own sometimes, and I like to just be able to retreat and just spend time on my own. I'm like a cat, I think. So when I want to be social, I go out and seek other people, and then I want and expect that they're ready to be social with me, but unfortunately that's not always the case. Other people need their space too, and other people also need to just retreat and be on their own. But that's how it is. I don't know if you noticed, but my old Game Boy has got some smudge on it somewhere, like here. I used to have stickers on my Game Boy. I have stickers on the Tetris gaming device. I let the stickers stay on that, but I peeled off the stickers from my Game Boy because I was trying to sell it at one point. So there was one interested buyer, and it was a woman who wanted to buy a Game Boy for her son. She came over and I showed it to her, but then when I turned it on and then showed her how it works, and it worked back then, I hope it still works, but when she saw that it wasn't a color screen, then she was like, okay, no, I'm not interested in buying it, and then there was no deal. So I took off the stickers for no reason. I used to have stickers with my name on it, and I used to have smiley faces and stuff like that. I've always been fond of stickers. So you can see on my Tetris gaming device. It belongs to me. I have my name on it. And I like smiley faces. Back when I was a teen, smiley faces were just starting to be a thing. So for a very long time when I was a child and teen, mostly when I was a teen, I think, smileys were these old-fashioned ones where you make a colon, a dash. I do it the wrong way for you, but a smiley is a colon, a dash, and then a parenthesis. It has to go the right way in order for it to be a smiley face, and it has to go away from the mouth and the nose to be a sour face. But back then, smileys were very basic. So today we have all of those emojis, and you can make animated emojis as well. You can have them on your phone and you can just pick one and then send them. And sometimes I wonder, what does this smiley mean? What does this emoji mean? So it's a brand new world, or not brand new, but all of these emojis are something that I'm getting used to still, because new ones pop up and I'm not always sure what a smiley or an emoji means. But that was a side note too. So lastly, I want to put in batteries in my Game Boy. And then I hope it still works. I made sure to take out the batteries before I just left it in a drawer somewhere, so it wouldn't get spoiled. Okay, batteries are in place. There we go. And then I need to pick a game and put that in. So I'm going to choose the game that I remember as my favorite. However, not to say something really bad about my younger brother's friend, but after I got this game back, after he had borrowed it, it's kind of loose, so I can put it in to my Game Boy when I take it out, I'm afraid that it might come apart. So I don't know if you can tell, but it has a line here. There's a line all the way around where it's kind of put together, so I'm afraid that it will just do like that, come apart. But we'll see if it works still. Maybe it doesn't. The power diode lights up red to indicate that there's power on the batteries. But maybe the game that I put in just doesn't work anymore. Nothing comes up on the screen. That's too bad. I'm gonna turn it off and then hope I can take out this. There we go. I'm going to take another. I'm going to try with the V-Rally. I hope this one works. Maybe the electronics inside have just gone bad. So maybe it doesn't really matter that I took out the batteries. Or maybe it's the game, these cassettes or whatever they're called. Maybe it's them that have gotten bad. I don't know. I felt like playing something to show you, but apparently it's dead. That's sad. Maybe it just doesn't work anymore, and then it doesn't matter. If it doesn't work, if the Game Boy doesn't work, or if these cartridges, I think they're called cartridges, if they don't work, then it's no use holding on to them. Something should come up on the screen. Nothing does. That's too bad. I haven't played any of the games in a very, very long time, so maybe it's just how things go. Things go back, things go bad after a while, and then you might as well just throw it out. It's nostalgia for me though. I have taken this Game Boy with me on a lot of trips, on school trips and family outings, and just chilling at home, just playing on my Game Boy while listening to CDs on my Kettle Blaster. So I've always been fond of that. So when I couldn't afford a PC, then I figured that I might as well settle and then just have a Game Boy. Then I could at least play something at home on my own. Hopefully this one works. I'm going to put batteries in this. It hasn't been that long since I used this one, I think. Maybe this one still works. Oh, it does. If you can tell, I need to tilt it so you can see the screen. So this Tetris game is kind of basic. I don't need to put in any games into the device because the games are on it, and I can choose between different levels. There are different levels, and there are also different games. If I press down here, there are 5 different ones, and I can, if I push the right one, and I can choose between different levels. As far as I remember, there are different levels for the different games, so it's not always 5 for each of them, I don't think. Yeah, this game number 5 has 9 levels, and number 1 has... Oh, that's 9 as well. I can turn the power on and off on this button. The sound can either be on or off, and I can turn the device on or off, but when I put in batteries, it started up automatically. But I'm going to show you game number 2, and then I'll just start at level 4. I don't remember how I started, but I have to either press the big yellow one or the top right here. So I'm going to try. That was wrong. Oh, there we go. It's not easy to do it like this. Move. Maybe this would be a fun challenge. Do it in the camera, but everything is reversed and I can't really see the buttons. I think I turned off the sound. There we go. There's a button that I can press. Maybe it's this one. Ah.
Watch out!
I can't really see what I'm doing. If I press a specific button, I can make it go down faster. And I can... There's a button I can press that I can rotate. Accelerate, fire, and rotate. Okay, the big one is the rotate. If I can see what I'm doing. I'm going to be game over. That was that. Yay! I just got a high score. It has been so long that I played on this last, so everything that I had saved on it is gone, I guess. So every time I play now, or most of the time, if or when I play on this, I will get a new high score. I can easily do better than what I just did, but it was quite fun to try again. I can do better if I actually see what I do. This first one is easy. It's just one single dot or brick. I was pretty good at this.
Watch out!
Oh no. Maybe that's fine. And then, oh no.
Watch out!
What did I do? It's quite fun. Going to be game over.
Game over.
Scored 300. I got 540 before. I was better at distributing them over the entire area instead of just letting them come down. But yes, that was it for for the gaming show off. It's a lot different than gaming today. I can tell you that. When I was a teen, in my late teens, I got my first mobile phone, and that was pretty advanced back then. I don't remember which brand it was, but it was quite basic. I could send text messages and I could receive them, of course, as well, and I could call, or someone could call me. So it was quite basic, but as far as I remember, there were a few games on my first mobile phone. I think there was on that, but the second phone I got was a Nokia 3210. 3210. That was the model number. It was quite basic. I have always been fond of personalizing the stuff I have, so put stickers on them or buy a specific cover and then put that on. This Nokia phone that I got as the second one I had was quite basic too, but it had a few games. I'm definite that there were games on that one because I played Snake on it. So the screen on that phone was kind of like the screen on my old Tetris game. So it was quite basic, and there was a small dot, a very small snake that moved around on the little screen, and then I could steer, and then I had to pick up blocks and then make the snake longer, and there were obstacles that I needed to avoid. And so the game was about getting the snake to be as long as possible, and the longer it got, the harder it was, because I risked snaking into myself, if you can call it that. If the snake was very long, I had to be very strategic as to where I moved the snake so I wouldn't block myself in. But that was a fun game too. So on modern phones today, the screens are bigger and they're more advanced, and we have color and animation, and it's a lot more gripping. It's a lot more entertaining maybe. But if the game is interesting in and of itself, then it doesn't really matter to me if the screen is in color or not, or if there are flashy animations and stuff like that. I like to play on my Game Boy because it was what I could afford and it was all mine. So I could play on that when I wanted to. Except when someone, like my sister, really felt like I should be social instead of just playing on my Game Boy. So she didn't do it other times than that. I got really mad because she turned off my Game Boy while I was playing. So I got mad, and I don't really think she apologized. She was like entitled, and said that I needed to be social instead of just playing on my Game Boy. I think that maybe she was a bit jealous or something because she didn't have anything that she could spend her time on. So if she wanted to be social, then she could go into the living room and be social with the grown-ups, but she didn't do that either, so maybe it was just to get my attention. But sometimes things go like that. This video is about gaming. As I said, I have showed you my games and my old Game Boy. I didn't know whether I would be able to bring it back to life. I don't think I can. It's been too long. Either the Game Boy or the games are just bad and it doesn't work anymore. Or maybe both. If the electronics go bad, then there's nothing you can do. Then it doesn't really matter that you put in new batteries and try to dust off the electronic parts. I tried looking into it. I have had this Game Boy for a long time in a drawer where it doesn't really get dusty, or only a little dusty, and dust shouldn't come into it from the side. So it was in a drawer and dust had to come into the drawer and then go into the Game Boy. So I don't think that it's because it's dusty, but I don't know. This video was a bit different today, but I wanted to make this palette cleanser as a kind of transition before I start playing a new game. This Horizon Zero Dawn that I've been thinking about. I might change my mind and play something else instead, but eventually I want to do a complete playthrough of Horizon Zero Dawn, because I have played Horizon Forbidden West from start to finish, including the DLC. I want to do a full playthrough of Zero Dawn, the first game as well, because I want to have both playthroughs up on my channel before this third game in the series comes out. So I'm hoping that this rumor about a Horizon 3 game will be true. So I hope I will be ready for when or if that game comes out. That's it for this gaming video. It was a bit different, but I hope you enjoyed it. So having this Game Boy also tells you a bit about my age and what I grew up with. So if you're younger than me, then you might not have a clue what I'm talking about, but I'm hoping that you thought or think it was interesting to see these games and to see my Game Boy and also get a showcase of my old Tetris game. So I hope you enjoyed this video and I hope you will watch other of my videos. I definitely hope you will stick around and watch the playthrough of Horizon Zero Dawn. That's it. Until I see you again, take care. Thank you for watching.